Good morning, this is your AI host, Jay. I'm here with the automatically generated, Journato, morning headlines on August 4, 2023. Ukraine says it launched July attack on bridge to Crimea. BBC, Ukraine admits to bombing Crimea bridge, Russian shelling damages landmark church in Ukraine's Kherson. Future wars. Is Moldova Russia's next target? Sky News, Moldova, Russia's proxies down but not out. On Ukraine's landmine-strewn front, even the corpses can kill. Reuters, Russian forces failed to make headway along front lines, claims Ukraine after a night of drone attacks. WION, how the Ukraine counteroffensive can still succeed. Time, Ukrainian troops are abandoning US tactics, they haven't worked, report. Business Insider, the most dangerous job in Ukraine, clearing landmines at the front. US snake hunters fight pythons big enough to devour gators. Biden gives very curt response to Trump arraignment question while biking. The Independent, what goes on in the mind of Trump? The Times, Trump appears in court on federal charges, declares sad day for America. Bloomberg, Democrats and the Trump indictment spectacle, WSJ. The Wall Street Journal, Biden says he will not follow Trump's arraignment. Kidnapped woman in Oregon escaped makeshift cell, says FBI. BBC, Oregon, woman punched her way out of garage cell after being kidnapped by fake policeman, FBI says. Sky News, kidnapped woman who punched her way out of cinderblock cell may have saved lives. The Independent, FBI seeking to identify potential victims of Klamath Falls man. KATU, suspected serial abuser named after victim breaks out of basement cinderblock cell. Dozens injured after protesters storm Eritrean festival in Stockholm. Chinese zoo denies its waving sun bear is a human in a costume. The Independent, new video fuels debate over whether waving bear is really human in disguise. Latest from ITV News. ITV News, mystery around viral Chinese bear ends, China zoo denies rare sun bear is a human in costume. CNN News 18, a Chinese zoo's bear's fake. I know a cover-up when I see one. USA Today, man or bear? Unbearable media speculation over China zoo footage, media bites. Indiana woman dies from drinking too much water. Beirut port blast survivors still suffering 3 years on. BBC, the aftermath, how the Beirut explosion has left scars on an already broken Lebanon. The Guardian, Beirut firefighters struggle years after port blast. Reuters, opinion, 3 years after Beirut's apocalypse, no one is accountable. The Washington Post, Lebanon marks 3 years since massive blast rocked Beirut, France 24 English. Alexei Navalny braces for new verdict as Kremlin clamps down. BBC, Alexei Navalny, Russia's opposition leader behind bars. France 24 English, Alexei Navalny awaiting verdict in extremism trial. DW, English, another 20 years for jailed Russian critic Navalny. What you should know, Al Jazeera English, Navalny says expecting Stalinist prison term in extremism trial. Canadian province Alberta cancels bid for 2030 Commonwealth Games. BBC, Alberta withdraws support for 2030 Commonwealth Games bid due to cost. The Guardian, Commonwealth Games in turmoil as a second city walks away after Dan Andrews pulled out, and they're blaming H. Daily Mail, not a good deal for Alberta, province scraps bid to host Commonwealth Games. Calgary Herald, Commonwealth Games lose another probable host over high organizing cost. It's a racism crisis, call for action on Qur'an burnings in Sweden. The Guardian, why are Sweden and Denmark having a Qur'an crisis? Reuters, Middle East Roundup, Qur'an burnings lead to protests around the world. Al Jazeera English, the Irish Times view on controversies about anti-Islamic protests in Denmark and Sweden. The Irish Times. The Irish Times, Danish PM, banning burning of the Qur'an would not reduce freedom of expression. Thousands of British children caught in World Scout Jamboree chaos. The Guardian, World Scout Jamboree, hundreds hit by heat exhaustion in Korea. BBC, hundreds of children fall ill with heat exhaustion at World Scout Jamboree. The Telegraph, hundreds suffer heat exhaustion at World Scout Jamboree in South Korea. Guardian News, hundreds fall ill at Scout event in South Korea heatwave. Is Trump running for president mostly to avoid prison? BBC, is Donald Trump going to prison? The Independent, explained, indictments, arraignments, disqualification risk. Can Trump still run for 2024 U.S. presidency? WION, will Donald Trump end up in prison or the White House? Financial Times, lock him up. Why Trump could still beat Biden from behind bars, Mary Dejevsky. Ocean heat record broken, with grim implications for the planet. BBC, ocean temperatures are hotter than ever. What does it mean for Earth? The New York Times, Earth's hot oceans are a cosmic tragedy. The Atlantic, this heat is shaking the very foundation of the ocean food web. Wired, the ocean's dire message. Niger, President Mohamed Bazoum calls on US for help after coup. BBC, Nigeria cuts its electricity supply to Niger. The Times and the Sunday Times, Niger junta cancels France military ties as Biden calls for Bazoum's release. The Guardian, the long arm of the Kremlin and the politics of uranium. Bloomberg, Nigeria, guarding against a military intervention in Niger, by Kingsley Moghalu. Trump pleads not guilty to 2020 election charges at arraignment after arrest, live. The Independent, Donald Trump pleads not guilty to election charges in latest arraignment. BBC, Trump pleaded not guilty. The stakes couldn't be higher. The Independent, what time is the Trump arraignment? Here's how to watch live coverage and why you. This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.